Hi Natasha, thank you for joining us today and coming to chat about your business. So love you to share first of all about your business journey, how you got started and what you're up to at the moment with the business.
All right, so thank you. I run the business called Kimberley Jiyigas, and Jiyigas is a Jaru word for birds, and it's a metaphor for the fact that I'm a collective of Kimberley Indigenous women, and our vision is that we would be a collective of women influencing social change. So we're actually a consultancy, like an Indigenous consultancy service for the Kimberley region.
Yes.
We're a group of Aboriginal women who offer different services according to our own skill set. And so our main focus is the fact that we would amplify Indigenous women's voices, promote Indigenous culture in a really positive way, and also enable other Aboriginal women to go into business. But our services that we actually provide surround event management or project management.
Yes.
Business mentoring and support, leadership mentoring and support, and cross-cultural awareness to help people who are working within Indigenous communities to get better outcomes for the clients that they're dealing with. So that's cultural training and awareness with service providers and government agencies and things like that.
Sure.
So that I set that up in 2018. So we're now running into our third year of business, and we basically work across the entire Kimberley region.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And what was your reason behind wanting to start up a business?
I think I just had the encouragement from a friend to say, look, this is something that you can go into. I'd spent 25 years in community development, so I was very passionate about getting better outcomes for Aboriginal people.
Yes.
So to use my own skill set and my own passion in business was a very natural thing for me to undertake. It wasn't something that was daunting or felt unnatural. I know I'm a first generation business owner because none of my family have been in business previously. But yeah, it was someone saying, look, you can use your own skill set and your networks now to create money. It was a new concept. It was something that was brand new, and
yes.
I had to think about for a little while because I hadn't done it before. But I'm really happy that I took my friend's advice.
Yes.
Explored it, did my homework. That's a big thing. You've got to do your research and your homework.
Yes.
And it took me about 6 months to set it up before I even launched. And there was a lot of work and sort of talking to a lot of people and thinking about things and setting up an ABN number and working out. See, there's a lot of elements to business that I didn't know about and I hadn't been exposed to.
Yes.
So that was like a bit of a tricky thing, but I stepped out, quite boldly a few years ago, thinking, oh, I can do this, and it's paid off.
It's wonderful. Thank you. So would you be able to share with us a couple of stories from your business journey, a couple of successes or achievements that you've had?
Yeah, maybe challenges as well.
Yeah, and some challenges.
Yeah, so like for a challenge for me is the fact that a business owner works nothing like an employee. And so one of the things that I was getting used to when I first started my business was the fact that I was working on my own.
Yes.
Previously, I was working in an office with a lot of other people, and they were coming and going, and activity and noise and conversations and whatnot. And then suddenly I created a room in my own house, and I was in my office sitting by myself. It was completely quiet, and I generated my own work. No one was now directing me. No one was telling me. No one was giving me deadlines. I was imposing those things now on myself, and I was creating my own work by making phone calls, sending off emails, reading what was out there, learning about what was going on in our communities, and seeing how my business could be a part of some of those things that were happening. So there's been a few different challenges. Like I also mentioned that I'm a first generation business owner.
Yes.
So I didn't have people in my family who could necessarily give me support on what that looked like. But since I've stepped out, I think there's been a really good positive response to my business. And I think that's because there's a need. What we're providing is there's a need for those services because we're not getting those good outcomes for Aboriginal people. So we do need Aboriginal people providing advice, providing that cross-cultural awareness, that training, and supporting some of those things that are going on in our communities in a more effective way, because we know the country, we know the land, we know the people, we know the networks, we know the culture, we know how things work in this area. So the big positive for me now, even though initially it was very different, I guess, to work by myself, now to think about going back and doing a 9-to-5 job and being someone's employee is now the foreign concept.
Okay, yes.
Because now I develop my own schedule,
Yes.
and I have so much flexibility
Mm.
in my schedule that, I love it.
It's good.
Yeah, I love it.
It's really good. So what would be some words of advice that you would give to someone that would thinking about starting out in business?
Yeah, I think it's a great aspiration, and definitely it's where we want our Aboriginal people to be, so they're economically empowered. You know, so native title has been largely determined across our region now, so a lot of people have their country back and they can do different things now. But the next step is economic empowerment and development for our people, and trying to get wealth in the hands of Aboriginal people, so maybe they can reinvest back into their families, communities, and socially, so we can advance socially and economically at the same time. So that's my encouragement. Like, it's a fantastic aspiration to have. I think there definitely are challenges involved. You can't just get away with it, and you really have to do your homework. That's my best advice I can give you, and take advantage of people who are mentors and business coaches, because you simply don't think you can just work your way through it by yourself. There's a lot to learn, and don't be overwhelmed, but just make a start, and it's just one step at a time, and then suddenly you'll find yourself in a bit of a momentum, and it'll just get easier and easier, and then suddenly you'll just be loving what you're doing.
Thank you, Tash, for sharing with us today.
No worries.